Good evening. Welcome to Hang Out in the Crib with your Battle Pirates Crib crew. I am the BP Professor, and we are joined tonight by Hefe.
Howdy, everybody.
And Dr. Death.
Hello.
And on his Wednesday debut, I think, Holsch.
Woo!
Or is it the Holsch?
Either one works. Doesn't matter.
Or Mr. the Holsch? Mr. Holsch?
Well, on Friday's the only time I forced everybody to go by two names, hence Father George and Two Doors, and
All right.
But one name's fine on one name's fine on Wednesday.
Okay. All right. So anyway, what do we got going on this week? We got a new TLC for the skill hull finally. And we have a bunch of ships that we're not quite sure how to build them for the raid, but there was a raid preview today, which Hefe was in, so I'm sure we'll talk about that.
Yeah, and so is Dr. Death and Holsch.
Oh, so I was the only one left out.
Yes.
Because I have a real job.
Okay.
Oh.
All right, so slides are up, and we'll get to it.
Okay.
All right, bug fixes. Wow, she's pulling their car.
Well, it's a Volkswagen. I think it's like a Golf or something. I was just sort of like, he's the man, like, okay, honey, I'll steer, because this is obviously in Europe with that license plate.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll steer, and you pull us out of this, and we'll have the our kid manage everything.
And we'll have somebody take a picture of your cleavage.
Yeah, it was all quite something. I was searching for the normal, hot girl with a Volkswagen Bug, and I ran across this and thought, I'll throw this one in there this week.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's see. Countermeasure reload plus 100% incorrectly displayed. Nice job, Kixeye. Fixed a bug where transformers would not be saved when saving the equipment layout for base turret. Oh yeah, I haven't even used that save.
I've never gotten it to work, so maybe I should try it again, because I've tried to save them, and when I try to load, it's nothing's there. So maybe I'm just doing it wrong.
Maybe.
Possibly.
And then change the gluttony so it only triggers once your target ships, that's your ships, reach 75% health, so they don't. Yeah. And this was causing, I don't understand the second part of this. So they were triggering too early, and so the gluttony was overperforming. I don't understand how transferring health that early would cause it to overperform unless it was getting more health than max or something.
No, it wasn't giving more health than the max. The problem was what was happening was the player would go out and hit a base, and then they'd go back to their base, and they'd just add the gluttony into the fleet.
Yeah.
Launch it out on the water, and hit a dead base or some small base, and repair their fleet for free, and then throw the gluttony back in the base to slow repair while they go out and hit another base. Kixeye wasn't making no coins.
Yeah, but
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Why isn't that? I mean, that seems the same as.
Well, it's not. You can't fully cure it up to or repair it up to 6,000.
Oh.
The guys too got. If you try to repair after battle, you're still got left with the 25% to repair in your dock. I think is the reason they did that.
On those ships, yeah, they're not fully repaired. Okay, I get it.
Yeah, because I don't think it had to do with the actual in PvP battles. I think it had to do with the repair afterwards.
Yeah, they weren't. They had a drop in coin. I guarantee it.
Okay. Yeah, right. Because if you have 75% and you have a Conqueror with no armor, it's still 6.5 minutes.
Well, a Conqueror with no armor, you would never do this with. At least tier 6. Because they repair much faster than the Gluttony. It's once you load them up with armor that the repair efficiency on the Gluttony is better than an armored up tier 6 Conqueror Hall.
Okay. Cool. Let's keep rolling. And then,
Okay.
what do we got? Doom Rooster. Oh, torpedo targets weren't firing. Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, I figured they had to catch that.
Today at 8. That's in the future.
And 1 second, I'm off the slides because Tito was messaging me.
Shut up, Torpedo. You quit.
Yeah, he's asking me about tanks. So yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm busy right now, Tito. What's in the future? The fix?
The time, 8:37 p.m.
Oh, because I'm banned from the forums. They've put me on,
GMT.
Yeah.
Okay.
So all my time is off. Yeah.
Okay.
Or I'm just predicting the future. However you guys want to take it.
All right. So that was long enough ago that is now complete.
Yes. That's complete. And if you watch the Friday show, you could watch me kill a vet or have a vet kill a torpedo tower.
Sweet.
With Thud 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Little demonstration.
Can't do it anymore though, so tough.
Well, in theory, I haven't tried again.
Yeah. Okay, so Odyssey TLC. These are the prize packs. First prize pack is the new Monolith haul, which we will show in just a minute. Some Monolith VXP tokens and the Judgment Mortar if you don't have it already. Pack 2 is the high yield warheads, which again we'll show, but it's a pretty good special. Another VXP token, and then a couple one-day build tokens. Pack 3, a brand new mortar, which again we'll compare in just a few minutes. 10 days of build tokens and 6 times blah 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 Monolith VXP tokens. So I think between those tokens you would have won in those first 3 packs, you can essentially build a Monolith and get it to Scald. 1 haul. And then the last one gives you 2 more big VXP tokens and 2 more little one-day build tokens. So there you go. Those are the prizes.
Very good.
Let's talk about these targets. So they're Cannoneer siege-style targets.
Yeah. There's a couple targets before this, which are from the B set. What's it like? I don't really hit the B set that much. Oh, the B set and some A sets, and then you reach this as a difficult target and a new target on prize pack 2. I didn't want to show the other ones because we've already seen them all, but it's a 73 and a 75 are the A sets, and I think the B sets are a 74. Or I'm sorry, 6. Does anybody know anything about the B sets? This is the only time I really hit them.
There was also one that was the Blitz target.
So the
Okay.
The third one's the Blitz target right before you go into the 73.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the first one was the 51.
Oh no, the first one was easy.
Yeah. I think that was the 51.
I don't remember.
And actually the first time I hit that one, it didn't even, the launcher tower didn't fire at all. Weird. Right, the second time through. Anyway, so yeah, so this campaign, I think everybody thought it was kind of straightforward until they got to this target. One of the biggest issues was this gate down here, which apparently doesn't really exist. You can roll right over it.
Yeah, even on the second encounter, even if you hit it a second time, that wall still does not exist.
Yeah.
You can just drive right over it. Yeah.
So, yeah, this was kind of a tricky target because you had the, first of all, you had the long range ballistics, which show up early and are protected by other towers. So you can't just blitz in and kill them. You have to kill the front towers first.
And they start firing long before you can get to them.
Yeah. So they're going to do some damage. And then you can't do a loop of the launcher turret like we generally have been doing. I kind of sailed back and forth between here and was still taking a fair amount of damage. I was able to do this campaign. I did the first run through, took a little bit of damage, did the second run through, was taking a little bit of damage, and then got to this target. And I was able to beat it without coining anything, but I had maybe half a ship left, and that's it.
And we should point out for anybody that has not yet gotten into the target, where that little circle is at on the screen. If you go down from that circle about a quarter of an inch in this picture, there's another turret that's going to pop up right there.
Yeah, because I was going by memory, so yeah, I was a little bit off, but that's why I put that circle there. There's another. It's a launcher turret that's very nasty.
Yeah. So yeah, this is getting a little tricky. I mean, right?
Yeah, well, especially with the it takes 15 hours to repair your cannoneers. So if you're asked to do this and then another target afterwards, it's can be tricky.
It's going to be expensive. I know some players are talking about using a lot of pinches.
Yeah, I used some pinches because I think I got overly aggressive. I used a fearless blitzer, and I was trying to get to those ballistas as soon as possible. And I think I got, I was so aggressive to try and kill them that I got in range of other stuff. And then I ended up with a 13-hour repair. Then I zombied everything up and threw a couple pinches and was able to finish it fairly easy with the small long pinches.
Okay.
Here's my issue with this whole setup, and I want to say my piece real quick about it. I understand that this is the skill hole, this is the top tech, right? And it needed to be difficult, but you got the difficulty ramped way up on this. If you don't have the top fleet with the top tech, and even more than likely some coins to throw in, you're not going to grab the whole weapon and special. And since these are the targets, since the tech we're going after is to be able to do the next generation of FM, that makes this mandatory.
Yeah. So
you can get the hull without doing this,
right?
But the weapon and then you can get the special for doing this. And I think the special. We'll talk about that in a minute. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Larry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, I think I was about to say exactly what you're going to say. You can get the hull without doing this target, just doing raid targets. And then you got to suffer your way through this target to get the next tier, which gets you that special, which is, again, as we'll see soon, it's pretty good. And then tier 3 gets you the build tokens, or pack 3 gets you the build tokens and the new weapon, which obviously build tokens are nice, but maybe the weapon isn't quite so great, and we'll see that soon.
Well, personally, what I think they should have done, I think that, they should have put the weapon and the special in the first 2 period. And then prize packs 3 and 4 should have all been tokens. So, you had a chance to win the tech, but you would have had to slow build if you couldn't run through. You know what I mean? And when you're looking at 14 to 16 days a whole, you're talking over 2 months of slow build time. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So you wouldn't have been getting that skill hole for anything cheap, and it would have just been the heavy coiners and the top end players that would have been able to throw it out quickly. I think that would have been a better plan for Kickside to run with, rather than the way they've gone, which is going to block a lot of the player base from getting what might be necessary tech to do the FM for the next year.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see, but I don't know if that mortar's necessary tech. But yeah, I do see your point. They could have gotten the tech out there and then had the tokens, the XP tokens and the build tokens be on the higher tiers.
I have a different opinion on the mortar when we get to it.
Okay.
Even though I put in the slides a lot of question marks, but
all right, we'll talk. Are we ready to move on from the campaign itself? Has anybody here gone through packs 3 and 4?
Oh, I've already got it all done. Plus, I got 2 of the monoliths already built.
All right. Oh, this is what? This is target 7 now?
Yeah.
Yes.
This is way easier than target 6.
So what
Yeah.
is this? You start inside and you just kind of do a loop?
Well,
Yeah.
you start inside, and then you got 30 seconds from when you spawn for the 12 o'clock turrets there
Okay.
to pop up. And they're
So
the only ones that'll pop up.
Yeah, go to the next slide. It's the same thing with Holsh doing a little paint job on it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow. So
Because
you spawn. Wait, so you spawn here?
No, you spawn where the big blue dot is.
The big. Oh, here.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
But
Yeah.
nothing spawns. Nothing spawns. Like I said, the first set of turrets is the ones at 12 o'clock. They will come up 30 seconds after you spawn.
Oh, I see. So it's a big time target.
Right. And then 30 seconds after those turrets pop up, the turrets over at 9 o'clock pop up. And then 30 seconds later, the turrets that are sitting up at 2 o'clock pop up. And then the ones at 6 o'clock pop up 30 seconds later. And then the big gun pops up 30 seconds after that.
So I think what Dr. Death is saying that somebody needs to put together a video so people can see how this works.
Oh, I think this looks great. I would just take a screenshot.
yeah, I'm going to try and make a video tonight or tomorrow once my cannoneers are repaired and try this pathing. Because I know it's worked. People have done, like, gone on the outside of the box and done it for, like, a real cheap repair compared to going on the inside like I did.
Well, see, I went on the inside. The first time I didn't know where everything was popping up, and I didn't realize the time. But when I went through it the second time and finished out Prize Pack 4, I did it for almost no damage. Because it's just a matter of, since you know, because they give you markers on right where those platforms are going to pop up at. So you just drop your ring right there on the edge, and you take out turrets before they even come up out of the water. I mean, so it's really actually a very easy target. I would have loved to have this in the raid.
Yeah. Because the first time I tried it, I didn't even know the aura they popped up in. So I took extra damage there, and I didn't know that you could fire them or start killing them before they even surface, really, and not have them fire on you.
You did the same thing I did, didn't you? You was driving around trying to make them pop up, didn't you?
For a moment, yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't realize they were on a timer, and it didn't matter where I was at on the map. If they were on a timer, they were going to pop up on their own no matter where I was.
Yeah.
Those damn Scourge.
Crazy. All right. Well, I'll try it tonight, I guess. So let's talk the mortar, the OU mortar. Nice. All right. So it's a big heavy mortar. It's not that funny. It's got salvo. It's got the same reload as the Judgment. It's got the same splash and spread as the Judgment, same range. But yeah, it's got more damage, split over more shells. So if there's some deflection, this might make a difference, and the Judgment might be better.
And you also need to include that in the reload time.
Yeah, that's true. It is going to be a little bit slower in the cycle time.
Yes.
And
10.6 versus 10.2.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then so you got the heavier weight, and you've got no MIRVs when it gets countermeasured. So anyway, you see the DPS, and per weapon, it's 50% higher, which is just kind of the damage ratio. But then DPS per weight, they're actually pretty close, right? The combat mortar is better, so if you're starting from scratch, maybe you use these. But they're not like making everything else obsolete.
Yeah, from the stats, there's one more click. As far as the DPS per ton, it's only a 7.5% increase in damage. If you include even Shipyard 1, because you need it, it's Forsaken versus Legion.
Oh yeah.
So you need to slash some weight off of the judgment mortar, which has already been done on that table.
Okay.
I think the real secret is, what's the name of the mortar that came out with the Empyrean?
Oh, the Advanced Imperial mortar.
Yeah, yeah. And what we learned at that point, the reason that that young lady has a mask in front of her face is, I think there's a lot of hidden stats associated with this mortar. Because what we learned is the difference between the Judgment mortar and the Imperial yada yada Imperial Advanced whatever was the minimum splash, which is the damage that's done at the edge of the splash radius.
Mhm.
On a Judgment mortar is only 50%. Well, on that mortar it was 100%. So basically, besides the center point of where it hits, you're doing, are you doing twice as much damage? Yeah.
Half as much at the edge.
No. Well, okay.
Oh yeah,
I'm
you're
saying
doing twice as much at the edge with the
Yeah.
OU mortar. Yeah. Okay.
Not with the OU mortar, with the advanced whatever. We don't know. We don't know. And because the
Gotcha.
increase between the judgment and the combat, as far as the visible stats, is so minimal that I'm wondering if we have the same sort of mechanic in play. We have a mechanic of minimum splash or projectile speed or something like that that's in play and not shown on the mortar, that actually makes it much more advantageous over the judgment mortar. And if we start to look through, especially the special, that I think that this is a very important weapon in regards to splash specials. Because I'm guessing, I don't know, but my guess is the fact that this could possibly have a similar mechanic where the whole splash radius, you're doing 100% or 90% or something of that nature.
Yeah.
And it's not shown in the blueprint, which makes it look so mediocre. But we don't know until we actually put it on our ships. And I don't know why they don't sell it a little bit better, because I think it would be a sales point. Minimum splash is 100%, or, it's got 25% better projectile speed than the Judgment.
No.
Because now they look
I can tell you right now that the projectile speed is worse.
worse.
The projectile speed on this mort is worse.
But you put it on the hull, right?
I also put one on the Harlock Citadel, and you can actually see these morts flying behind the Judgment morts that are on the Harlock Citadel.
Okay. So it must be this minimum splash, or because if they're slower, I don't, there has to be some reason they're better than this 7.5% increase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay. Well, so it's still kind of a mystery. So Hefe, your comment earlier that, well, maybe the weapon is important, it's really just a supposition.
Yeah, I'm just basing it on what they've done in the past, and their past recent action was the 100% minimum splash. And so, I mean, based on what they've shown us, yes, it's a mediocre improvement, and maybe not even an improvement because you have less flexibility because of the increased weight.
Yeah.
Well, no, but see, here's another thing you got to look at, though. That's hidden in the stats that they're actually giving us. You take a circle and draw 100 range radius, right? And you drop 2 shells that are going to be spread out in that space, right? Versus dropping 4 shells to cover that space. So you're covering, you're going to get that splash is going to be spread out more of that 100 radius than what the 2 shells splash will. You see what I mean? You're going to overlap more of the target. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but if you got 6 mortars on a ship and 3 ships or 4 ships stacked up, I'm not sure that's quite so important. I mean, yeah, if you only had 1 mortar, I guess it's the case. But I think with a fleet of these, it probably isn't much different.
Yeah, if you're firing 20 of them, it doesn't matter. You're still covering the area, I guess is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then you also got to look, if you're firing 20 of each of these morts, you're also firing, what? Look at the amount of extra damage that you're pumping out.
Well, except theoretically, I mean, so you got to remember DPS per ton. Sometimes it doesn't matter because, the weapons are light enough that you can't put a full loadout. But when you look at monolith builds, you can't fill them with combat mortars. They're too heavy.
No, you can't.
So DPS per ton is important, and if it had an advantage in DPS per ton, or a big advantage, then that would be something. But they don't, and I don't know. I think you get enough shells to cover the areas that you're talking about. I don't know.
But if my supposition is correct, why don't they advertise that?
Yeah.
Well, because that's part of them hidden stats that Coaxial likes to be able to change and control.
All right. Did you bring your tinfoil hat tonight?
Well,
All right. Let's move on from the mortar. And what? Yeah, she's got some high yield warheads. I would have moved on earlier if I. Yeah.
Well, she's more appropriate with the next click, but we'll just talk about the high yield warheads at this point.
Okay, so these warheads, mortars kind of bounce on. They increase projectile speed, increase splash, increase building and wall damage. So I think these kind of fill the slot that high velocity rounds did in the last raid. Although certainly 100% projectile speed is.
If you're going to talk about that, you can click one more time if you want to talk about HDR.
Yeah, awesome. So you see the much bigger speed bonus with the HVR, and then you get a splash bonus with this instead of the ballistic damage bonus, and the building wall damage is pretty close. I love it when she smiles at me.
She's smiling at you, Larry. But the high yield warheads fed into my supposition regarding the splash. Adding this plus 60% splash, which is also going to be great. This is a great special for your icebreakers.
Oh yeah,
well.
Yep.
This special makes a massive difference with the icebreaker.
Okay. The thing I notice is you got the DPS per ton, right? And so it's a lot heavier than HVR.
Yeah, that's why it's sort of a decision point. I mean, that's why it's sort of like the splash is the only real advantage.
Yeah.
And so therefore that splash has got to be important in the mortar, in the ship, and putting everything together, or else high velocity rounds is the way to go. And it seems that you're a fan of high velocity rounds because your speech patterns have, the speed of your speech is like split in half with the high velocity rounds.
I'm just wondering how much damage per ton those do.
Yeah. I don't think that either one are close to a ton. But we're getting asked, should we use high velocity rounds or the warheads? And I think for the high yield warheads, you definitely want to put those on your icebreakers.
Yeah.
As far as the new mortar, it's sort of what I was supposing before, is that there is a hidden stat there that deals with the minimum splash. What gets done at the extent of the splash. So therefore, that splash component is very important.
Yeah, here's the other thing I'm thinking, is that if you're building a monolith, or if you have the Harlock Citadel and you're doing citadels, you get that 100% projectile speed, right? And so your shots are going to land faster.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you add HVR, that's nice. They're going to land even faster, but kind of that extra time shortening maybe is less important on those ships where you already have that where you already have that 100% already, if that makes any sense.
Well, now, Professor, did you see the video that I posted on the page yesterday?
No.
I posted a video where I put a monolith with this special, the new mort on together, and I paired it up beside a Citadel that was running with, the original build and high velocity rounds. And the Citadel was putting 3 salvos of morts down on the target in the time it took 1 salvo to reach the target from the monolith.
Still that much faster, huh?
That much faster.
Huh. And that was did the monolith have all the combat mortars?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, actually, it had a mix of combat and judgment. It was a full build.
Okay.
And a salvo from the monolith would land for every 3 salvos that landed from the Citadel.
Huh.
It's like a 50-second video I posted on the page. You can look at it sometime. No, George looked at it and he just about floored him. He's sitting there saying he's got to rethink his build.
Yeah, it's I don't know if this is the right time to talk about it yet, but I really don't know what the hell to do for this raid. I don't know what to build. I've got a smattering of ships I could try. I'm not quite sure if I should refit and how. I'm a little bit out at sea here.
Yeah, Kix is not giving us good direction. And then dropping this last preview, a week before the raid. They know they did that because they know everybody's now going to try and refit based on what they saw in the preview.
Yeah. I mean, I think the high yield on the icebreaker is kind of a no-brainer. That makes a lot of sense. But beyond that, if you're thinking mortar plus tank, whether or not to use the charged armor, I think is still a question mark.
No, the charged armor outperformed the regular armors in that preview like nothing. Yeah,
but they could change things in the interim. I mean, I understand that point. It's maybe more likely now that the charged armors are going to do well, but I don't know that that's a lock worth refitting over, let's just say.
And I would love to know the mechanism of the charged armor, like the fact that why it doesn't work in a 109 and the way it works keeps on seeming to change. And that's part of it. That's the blueprint hasn't changed, just the performance seems to change.
And then the other thing is which mortar chucker should you use? And I think on the next page, you've got that, right?
Yep.
So you've got the monolith here and it's got this stuff. And then if I click again, am I going to get the comparison?
Oh, to the Citadel? No, not at this point. We did that on Friday. Or Wednesday and Friday.
All right.
So yeah, basically, as far as the stuff on the left, is there anything that's? I think the mortar reload is only 100% on the. Yeah, that's the only real bonus, and they dropped the remote targeting fall off from I think it was 25 down to 0.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's 20 on the, so you're dealing with 100% mortar reload on R5 Citadel, and 20% fall off, I think.
Yeah, I mean, these are small changes. It's not, the monolith isn't making Citadels obsolete or that much better than the Imperium Generalist. If
the Imperium... In the preview server, I hate to say this, but in the preview server, people I saw using the Imperium Zelos were doing really well in the targets. The Imperium did a lot better in standing up in the target and could take a lot more damage in the target than what the Monolith could. The Monolith was like paper.
Well, and now was the Monolith or the mortar chuckers, were those taking damage because the ships that were coming at you from behind?
No, the halos and the long range weapons inside the target all automatically target your remote holes.
Oh,
That was my experience. It didn't matter. You had to have them back at max range from your spotter ship to avoid being hit. And even then, they were still catching splash.
Huh. Okay. Yeah, there was that boy, there was that one target where they were doing that. You were getting that with the missiles, I think. And I was wondering if we were going to see that in this raid series. So maybe that is coming true.
A lot of people were commenting in the test server to Doom, and them was making, a lot of people were making comments that it's not right that them Halos are targeting the remote ships if they expect us to run remote holes to do this next raid series.
Yeah. Well, and maybe that's another argument for just a full fleet of icebreakers. I mean, how are those guys doing?
Well, I finally, when I finalized my final build, driving, I got it down to where I was doing an 80 for about 15, 16 minutes of damage, or an 81 for about 15, 16 minutes of damage, and right around 20 to 30 minutes on an 85. Or I could auto it and take about 20 to 25 minutes of damage in an 81 and about 40 minutes of damage in an 85.
Okay.
What crew did you use?
I wasn't using any crew.
Okay. Nice.
Is that 3 coin? Yeah, it doesn't seem too bad.
So, I was averaging probably there at the end after I started getting the pattern down and had my build, tested out and had the right build running. I was able to get it down to about, 2 to 3 coins for 2 targets. But then there's still that third target that we didn't get a test.
Right. But okay, so my real question though is how do those compare to using, Monolith plus tank or any other mortar chucker plus
Every
tank?
time I took a monolith, every time I tried to run my monoliths in, I'd lose them.
Okay.
I guess I need to find the right pattern, I guess.
Yeah.
But now there were people on the test server running the Zelos and Imperiums and walking away with 11 minutes of damage from an 85.
Yeah, we got some targets on the next slide.
All right.
I think.
I mean, I think the thing we want to mention about the Monolith, in case it's not obvious, is the Monolith has this speed acceleration thing going on, like the Apollo. So just kind of keep an eye on that. I mean, besides that, right? It's pretty close to a Citadel.
Yeah, and that's going to be. I mean, one of the things I would like to see is an extension of our fleet controls instead of 1 through 5. Add 6, 7, 8, 9 in there because I think most people have those on their
Keyboard.
numeric keyboard. Yeah.
Yeah.
And allow us to control different sets of ships without having to use third-party macros. Because if these are moving at 1 speed and speeding up and slowing down, while we have a tank that's moving with that has constant speed, it's going to be tricky to control them individually.
That is a really good idea for a feature request. I mean, Kixeye calls this game an RTS sometimes, and every RTS since Command and Conquer has let you set up custom groupings of units to control.
Yep.
So,
something else to point out about this hole. It is tricky because if you put Speed System 5 on this hole and you try and use an icebreaker as a tank, these monoliths, when they get up to speed, will outrun the icebreaker.
Mm.
But the other problem that was in the target was, a lot of people were talking about earlier that they would, use their tank to trigger the minefields so that they could just drive their remote ships through. The problem with the minefields is the ice never goes away. And as soon as the monolith hits that ice patch, it stops dead in the water almost.
Cute. Okay. Yeah, I will say on tanks, I built a Zelos after that last raid with the tokens that we could win. 15 days Zelos building. I was really pleased with it in the FM so far. I didn't get a chance to try the preview server, but pretty pleased. I like the speed. Okay, let's go on. Okay, so this is a raid target. What is this one? The 81?
81, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So talk about it.
As you see, it only has torpedo towers and cold snaps. and short-range missiles. There's no executioner types out there. Oh, and there's mortars and
Halo.
two halos.
Yeah.
Which on this target don't seem to have a really long range.
No.
It seems different than the 85. Did you have something to say, Hulse?
Yeah, pretty much that. You're short range, and if you with driving icebreakers, if you target the short range missiles on each little turret cluster, you can actually kill all the cold snaps without even getting in their range.
Okay. Good reason to have splash bonuses.
And if Kickside does not fix it, a good tactic to use in this is to run up in the middle and trigger them ships from the outside to come in, because the turrets on either of those, the 3 o'clock and the 9 o'clock platform, fire on the ships.
Yeah, they're not friendly.
Nice.
You thought they were all on the same side, but they're not.
Yeah.
And I even in my video, you can see where the ships themselves, 2 different clusters of ships started to come in and stopped and started attacking each other.
Yeah, at 3 o'clock they did that.
They have anger issues. But
Yeah.
yeah,
This guy's supposed to be again Draconians? Legion? I don't know. Whatever.
yeah, I think
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
supposed to
they're
be Legion and Draconian working together.
All right, I guess we'll hear the story when they get to it. All right, so good stuff. Anything else you want to say about this target?
there's a couple more clicks on this target.
Okay.
I was able to, using this fleet, even though I screwed up a little bit while the Citadel got busted up, I was able to do it for 3 minutes and 12 seconds in the preview server with my FM fleet.
Pretty solid.
Yeah, I got the build next, because you can hit all of the targets in the 81 with the Harrier and the solid fuel booster easily. You just need to click on it and it'll go hit it, and you don't have to worry about the down button. If you use a 94 range thing like a launcher, you need to be banging on the down button in order to get in range without getting fired upon.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, this looks like my Punisher tank. I like it.
So, yeah. So I was able to do it. Probably if I removed the damage on the Harlock, it's down to a minute. Still instant repair.
Yeah.
It's slow though. I mean, across a map of this size, you're just plodding along. It's very slow. Dr. Death would hate it. Host may not mind it, but Dr. Death would hate it. And this is the 85. Here's just the, all the entrances are, you can slip through, all the entrances, but, it takes more careful driving. But there's one more click. As you can see, it has executioner type of weapons, and the other one did not. So you're taking long range damage from these as well. And there's more halos, and it's a much more difficult target for that, your FM fleet. It's
for that slow fleet.
Yeah, because of the arc missiles mostly, and somewhat because of the executioners, but mainly because of the it'd take much more patient driving to do this with something like that, and you would probably time out and have to start again.
And if you're using icebreakers, you want to path it so that you can rush those executioners without coming in range of the cold snaps on the main island. Because if you get in close to those executioners, they stop firing. They do have a minimum fire range on those.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. All right. Preview tomorrow. Looking at prizes. Fixes to the Alpha Behemoths and some new Polonium Thrower, Polonium Accelerator. I guess some new weapon and special. I don't know how I feel about this. Not super excited.
What about the Harlex?
Throwers are radioactive, and with bugged out radioactive armors, I don't see that these are going to be able to be very effective.
Yeah, everybody's using plate.
Yeah.
I mean, right? I mean, if you're not doing 10K damage per shot, forget it.
No, well, with the plate armor, it has a fairly high pass through. And if these are like some of the previous throwers, they're like
a
20 salvo. Yeah. And so these might be pretty dangerous if they've followed that path of minimum damage on the plates.
All right.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah. Tomorrow we will know, at least, you know.
Basics.
Yeah, the basics, how they plan to go forward.
All right. Anything else on
And
this?
maybe on the Friday show we'll have Brian explain polonium like he did cesium last week.
No.
that was on the April Fool's Day show on the TFC. Yeah, he went off for about 6 minutes on cesium.
If we're going to give any college lessons on the show, we're going to do Kicksci Math 101.
The only thing I remember about cesium is it like blows up when you throw it in water, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's all I need to know.
Okay.
After all, I work for an organization whose motto is to blow things up and stuff.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Fuck up your shit.
And he works for the Red Cross, everybody.
I do not work for the Red Cross.
Yeah.
Their motto is not to blow stuff up and fuck up your shit.
Alrighty.
Okay. Anyway. Yeah. So what do we got here? Draconian coax.
Why did I put this up here?
Yeah. Why did you put this up here? What is this for?
Yeah. There's been a lot of people asking on the forums, what is the impact of accuracy and splash on the Draconian coaxial? I talked to somebody that was part of the Kickside team at the point in time when it was developed, no longer part of the BP Kickside team. And basically, accuracy, if you have the splash on this weapon, the accuracy doesn't matter as far as the as it relates to the countermeasure.
Okay.
And as you see here, I've loaded this one up with 160% splash. I could add another 60% splash with expanded concussive charge, but I didn't because I chose to. I should have taken a secondary picture of. You know, I did this a little late in the game of the drag coaxial stats to basically broaden the buffer as far as when the countermeasures would be used versus the ballistic weapon that it uses. And so what this special on the left does is it extends the countermeasure range and accuracy, but the accuracy is not really brought into shooting down missiles or whatnot. And I've gone with a defensive transformer on this one, which people could choose one way or another. One of the reasons I did it is obviously the 80% penetrating defense. But the other reasons, if I put the range on it, it's also going to extend the range of the ballistic. So you're not really gaining that much by extending the range of the countermeasure. But yeah, I should have added a secondary or 2 or 3 more little screen grabs to this one to more fully explain it. I know Holsch has done some work in this area.
Yeah. I mean, well, still going, if people have their liberators with a certain setup with like high velocity rounds and having like multiple different missiles on them, they can still override a couple of these easily. Because I had someone hit my base just this, like during the preview almost, right before the preview, and his missiles were pretty much. I have 2 Coaxial set up like this, except they're only level 7, so I don't have the countermeasure special. But he pretty much killed me like they were pretty much not there. But yeah, I mean, you need a decent amount of these to stop a proper Liberator build. But most people, they'll stop some at least. Slow them down.
Yeah, I mean, you might not stop somebody cold, but you might cut the damage at least. Give everything else time to
do its magic.
Yep.
Yeah, and in chat, it seems that George and Simpson are going to combine to beat me with a belt. Not really sure what's going on there, but Simpson's implying it's going to be a leather belt. So let's see what's happening.
Okay. All right. Rolling. End of slides.
What? I'll take you off presenter.
I will stop sharing. Okay. So we excited for this raid? For these alpha behemoth targets that are prizes that nobody's too excited about. Icebreakers, I assume, are going to be the other prize, right? And then
a Zoe's this and a Zoe's that on the bottom?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I'm assuming that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's sort of confusing. I mean,
I think there's just not a lot of excitement for the prizes and a lot of uncertainty about the fleets, and yeah,
because I think, I agree, and I think because I think the Monolith, at least we're hoping that the Monolith flagship is going to fix a lot of its weaknesses. Because right now, the Zealous, the Generalist, it seems to be the way to go.
Yeah, I think, the thing I'm kind of thinking in the back of my head is, I wonder if the different targets are going to be like best hit by different kinds of ships. Like instead of, the Cannoneer was best for everything last raid, right? And I'm just wondering if some of these targets are going to be better with, a full fleet of icebreakers, and others are going to be better with the mortar and tank.
Yeah.
Style.
On that top.
Go ahead.
Or on that topic, for in the preview, the 60s targets, you could not outrange the cold snaps with the tank. So that's one difference. I don't know if that's so they're like more meant for icebreakers or what, but yeah, the cold snap range in the 60s targets in the preview was over 100. So
the 60s targets are harder than the 81.
Yeah, well, maybe it depends on what you're using.
But except for the people hitting tier 4 or B sets, what are they supposed to have at this point? Are they supposed to have
90 million point icebreakers? Not likely.
Or are they supposed to have the Zealous and the Empyrean built at this point? Or are they using FM stuff?
Yeah.
Punishers and Citadels. And I got, I showed the, I took 3 minutes of damage on the 81 with my Punisher and Citadels. I got owned in a 65.
Okay.
Yeah. They've got these targets tuned wrong, and then on top of that, I believe they got the targets tuned to top tech, and the prizes, they're just not impressive. You know what I mean? I think if on that first day of the raid, if people go in and start losing fleets, that we're going to see a real low participation rate.
Well, yeah. So I mean, to kind of follow up with what I was saying is, I would be real careful about drawing conclusions from the first day of the raid. I mean, I know people do it. You see all the posts, this raid sucks, I quit, 1 hour in and stuff like that. But I would be real careful and if you're having trouble early on, wait and see what people are using and what works. Try and save some FM tokens so you can bring them in and do some quick refits at the front end of a raid.
Yeah, but the question here is, Larry, is the prize is going to be worth devoting that time to refit for?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
The other issue is if you're bringing up the fact that, okay, we need to use the icebreakers on one, the Zealous and whatever on another, and the Monolith on another. And this is a 3-month raid cycle, correct?
Yeah, people aren't going to build them all. Right. Maybe that's just my wishful thinking because I got like 2 icebreakers built and 1 Zealous, and maybe that's just
But
me.
Kixeye has been experimenting in the TLCs, here lately, with trying to where you need to use multiple fleets to complete the objective. But if they pull that in this raid, then the community is going to flip.
Yeah.
Because nobody wants to have to build where, people already feel pressure that they need to build 2 fleets now each raid cycle. And if we jump it up to 3 or 4 fleets for a raid cycle,
Yeah,
the community is just going to go nuts.
Yep. And rightly so.
Well, at least we can build our gluttonies for free.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, but the skill hole is the Monolith, so the Monolith fleet should be the fleet that should be able to rock the raid, period.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, so that's a scary sign.
Well, I don't think they're tuning this for the Monolith. I mean, with the arc missiles in there, the arc missiles eat them. So this seems more tuned towards the icebreakers, don't you think?
Exactly, but here's the problem. These are going to be the targets that we're going to see for the next, this is going to be the ace set for the next 3 months.
Well, unless they changed it all up because they realized they screwed up. They have done that.
Yeah, they have done that. But, do you see what I'm saying? The Monolith being the skill hole. Here's the thing, all right? So you got the skill hole. They advertised it as the skill hole. So, the coiners, myself included, we went, we got it. We've got the skill hole built. I'll have 3 monoliths ready to run behind a tank on next Thursday when this raid starts. And what I saw in the preview, they were junk.
Well,
which means I just wasted my time and energy and coin on crap.
yeah. Yep.
You know what I mean? But by getting so the people, and I'm not the only one, Larry. You know that. All the heavy coiners out there have all got their monoliths on the water.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're coining them because that's supposed to be the top hole. So that's supposed to be the hole that's going to let them do the raid.
There's certainly the point of view that says don't build them until you see a use for them, but that's that's not helping Kixeye any, right? If you invest that much coin and then you get slapped across the face saying, dumb fleet, sucker,
Well, except for the fact that there's, the one that you hate that I bring up is the Alpha Cesium Scarab, where they never fixed it. So there's a trust deficit that they're going to fix these things.
Sure.
Afterwards. And so okay, this is crap. They haven't fixed it. They should have fixed it, and they haven't. So they need to promote this type, the hull, the ship, whatever. They need to promote it more by giving us more information on a path forward with these with these prizes, this technology, in order for people to get excited about it and want to move forward with it. Because otherwise, there's a lot of, that's my favorite example, but there's other examples out there of stuff that we still don't know what's going on with the charged armor. There's never been announcements.
But that's exactly it, Hefe. They need to provide reward. Okay, I'm sorry, but for the coiners that went out and won all them charged armors, and the coiners that have gone out and have grabbed the monolith on the right after the TLC was released, and they've already coined and built the monoliths so that they've got them ready for the raid, then their reward should be that ship should freaking rock the raid.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That should be their reward for them spending their coin to take and supposedly have the top tech for the game.
Right. And the thing that you should make clear is when you say that should be their reward, it's not like they're entitled. It makes good business sense for Kickside to reward people who are investing that much.
Exactly, because nobody else that's not investing the money is going to have those monoliths in the water ready for the raid.
Yep.
You know, the only people they know is going to have the monoliths ready for the raid are the people that have coined them. It's that simple. They only gave you can only build one monolith full build with the tokens they gave you.
Yeah.
Should we I don't know, should we go over to the quite detailed Vega conflict work in progress that Zoom Rooster posted in the last day or two?
What is this game?
That's several pages long.
No.
And we don't get one? And Doom's one to post. What?
Right? It'll just make you angry.
Well, I could send you the link if you want to, or I can screen share it. I mean,
make me angry.
Okay. Let's see. Vega conflict. Let's see. General discussion.
I was like, I didn't even know that Doom Rooster was the community manager for Vega conflict.
That's a recent development. That's a recent development.
I thought they had separate teams for each of the different games.
Scarlett's no longer with the company, so it's that's the issue. Scarlett was he was Scarlett. He was let me see. Should I send it to you or else? I'll send it to you.
Go share, man.
No, it's
I'll just do this.
The ironic point is that Doom's doing whips for the other game, but not for ours.
Well, yeah, so it's not Doom's decision. I'm going to say that, but it's somebody at Kickside deciding. And I mean, is the community for Vega conflict that much more mature and able to handle the whip than the community for Battle Pirates?
No, the forums for Vega is just as bad, if not worse.
Okay. So I mean, are we supposed? What conclusion can be drawn?
Well, I don't know where my tinfoil hat's at, but it all goes back to my tinfoil hat theory that the reason we're not getting a whip is because of the fact that Kickside is using that to get more coins out of our pockets. Because we don't have the information going forward, so it's triggering a lot more refits out of the player base.
Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I'm reading this. I don't know. Are you focusing on this? Because I had to focus on it.
I think I presented to everybody, but I don't think we need to. I was just showing the length of it and the detail.
It is detailed. I mean, they telling them everything that's going to happen in the game, all the changes, they went into detail like they never did for us.
Yeah. Now they got aliens now.
Yeah, we're gonna get aliens soon.
Yeah, they've had them for a little while.
It's been a few months.
I was in the closed beta of Vega, but I didn't stay that long.
Yeah, I used to play it off and on, and then stopped, and then played on my phone for a little bit last year, but not really much at all.
I started in the beta, and then they reset all my ships because they decided that they were too good at taking advantage of some of the intricacies of the game.
Yeah, okay.
So they wiped them all out. They were too fast and too long range. They were like, HB3 Sea Wolves back in the day, and that's the way I built them. And so they wiped them all out, and I had to rebuild again. And they didn't give me any compensation, so I'm like, I hung up on them.
All right, so are we done with the show? Are we going to post an after show link? What's the story, man?
Sure. Let me get my windows in the proper place, and we can do that.
All right.
Let me do that real quick. So if anybody'd like to join us, we're going to talk about Tony Romo going to CBS. She's going to host that part of the show. Not going to the Texans.
No, I'm not.
And we're also going to talk about the best way to cook bacon. Do you start it underwater in a skillet and let the fat render out until it crisps up, or Larry is going to push cooking in the oven and on the sheet tray. At what temperature? At what temperature, Larry?
375, maybe 400.
Okay, that sounds about right. So if you want to get involved with these discussions, please join us in the after show, because we're going to end the live broadcast now. So unless anybody has any last words, I'll end the show.
And FA's going to turn on his camera so that everybody can see him for the first time.
All right.
Oh, people have seen us before.
We got Kyle.
But is everybody want to see me? Or is it just oh, there we are.
Oh.
So.
And there he went.
Yep.
Good night. All right.